All right, good evening, guys. Ken of Tortoise Capital, nightly strategy podcast for February 5th, 2024. Start with the hybrid swing um, hybrid swing portfolio. This is Alcoa. This is 30 minutes. Yeah. And here we go. So this was last Friday's trade. We exited here. There was a big gap down to here, and it continued to sell off. So we got short when it moved a risk box off the open. So there's our risk. It harshed all the way down and then closed poorly. And the VWAP was pointing all down. So this is one I decided to hold. And that's got a 5R cushion and continuing to fail. So that got us started. AI, the gap down sold off. It recovered back to the VWAP, so we captured an R. Caterpillar, we had 3 positions on it from last week, and this thing gapped all the way up here, and I was just hypnotized, and took it when it came through the VWAP, and finally exited down here. I wanted to keep those 3 in the money, and I wanted to see it kind of recover, but it never did, and so I finally had to take the position there. And so this 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This one was 9. This one was 6, and that one was 4. So a really good trade. I mean, that's 19R on but if I take a look at, I gave back that much on 3 positions. That was not a very smooth exit. I should have been out somewhere up in here is where I think this is given back too much on 3 times the positions. So I got lulled into how much I had gained. I gave back more than sometimes I'm making a day on that. So that was not good. Cliff, gap down and drop, cashed half an hour. CVS, I mean, I'd have been better off uh, not trading anything else except Caterpillar and doing it correctly. That was bad form on my part. This is CVS. So this was a morning hook. So it opened here, sold off hard, came back here, and on the second leg up, I got the 1, 2, 3 entry when it hit the edge of the dragon, and this had a reasonable 1R move. DIA, this is one where we also had 3 positions from last week, and it closed here. Today it gapped down to here, and having learned my lesson on Caterpillar, I guess the fact that it didn't follow through, this got me out, and the 3rd position was a scratch. So I gave back a lot on this drop. Then I watched it. I forgot to trade it till I got the 1, 2, 3 entry here, and it held support right where you would expect it to hold support. And then I got the standard risk, came through the VWAP, across the dragon to the Bollinger Band mean, and then in the that last half an hour, it began to collapse, and I just exited here. That was a lot of work for 1R. Disney, no trade. Devon Energy, no trade. Emerging markets, no trade. I missed that morning hook. This is one where the R10 reversal, this should have been a caught a 2 when it crossed the VWAP and crossed the Bollinger Band mean. That should have been the entry. and enjoyed that and then exited probably here. Should have gotten some of that. Ethereum, no trade. Mexico got the morning hook, 123 entry, cashed an R after it peaked. Brazil, this was a much deeper morning hook, but again, 123 entry. And this one cashed about 4R on the move back to the Bollinger Band mean. It didn't give back much, but I didn't want to hold overnight risk, given how red the market was today. This is Intel, no trade. There was a morning hook available. IP, sideways quiet channel developing. Real estate, sideways quiet channel developing. Coca-Cola, no trade. KRE, this is the regional banks. Another sideways quiet channel developing. This is a market at its top that is looking left and right to see who the leaders are going to be. I gave a shot to McDonald's here. Look at the size of this gap. This sort of explains my reluctance to hold things overnight. So this was last week's trade, and it gapped all the way down to here, sold off harshly, 1, 2, 3. So I tried long, and it just failed, ended up scratching. I mean, that's from 298 to 284. That's a 5%. That's a 5% haircut in one day. We're going to start picking up coverage on Meta. Merck, no trade. Microsoft exited the last week's trade, which we held. It gapped down, hit the VWAP from last week. So I exited with 3R in hand. Marijuana, no trade. Nike, no trade. NVIDIA. So this is one where, again, because I didn't want the overnight trade, we cashed those 3 right here, and then it gapped up to here. Took the entry with the standard risk. It ran all the way up here, and I gave back 3R and scratch. So it's just bad form this morning. I was not in very efficient mode. Clean energy, no trade. Rivian, no trade. Treasuries took a big haircut, off 4% since last week. Tesla was a big gap down, and I'm willing to believe in failure on Tesla and disappointment. Big gap down to here, sold off, started to sell again, so I took the short, standard risk. It sold off hard, then a 1, 2, 3 kind of exit right here for 2R. Walmart. So this is the one that, man, I need to have my head examined. So last week I got the 4 positions into it. It was 1, and then 3 of them on Friday. And then on this one, I said, aha, let me add 2 more positions. And then today it gapped here and started to sell. So I got out of everything right there and missed the sell off back to the Bollinger Band mean. Then it held. So by then I was feeling froggy once more. 1, 2, 3 entry and scratch. So I'm just glad I averted disaster right here. I'm not going to do that again until the next time. U.S. Steel, big sell off, but then held support. This feels like support around 45.50. So lots of market topping action today, if I can say it that way. All right, let's look at the sniper trades of the day. This one is in Brazil. So these are all on 3-minute charts. This was yesterday's close. This was a gap down to here, sold off and recovered. So that establishes the OR3. Then about 3 bars later, it falls out here. So we get the short. There's our standard risk box. It held and then dropped all the way to here. We took the dragon exit for the 3R. This continued to improve. The PSAR flipped. It crossed the Bollinger Band main, standard risk, and exit at the PSAR for 1, 2, another 3. Caught a 2 reentry for half. Caught a 2 reentry for a half. So this is a total of 1 plus 3 and 3, and that's 7R in EWZ. A perfect example of why we trade that one every day. It's a frog champion, and that's what it does. This one was PBW. This was one of the big gap down, sold off harshly. At the OR3, it kept falling, and that was the size of the risk box. So exit at the PSAR for 3. Hold support, supported spring crossing for Kata 2, because really you got the RL10 and half an R scratch and then nothing. So it was everything was in the big sell-off, but we got paid there for about 3R. This is in Rivian. Also a big, there's the close, big sell-off on the gap. OR3 breakdown, so we're short. Exit at the PSAR. SSC at the Bollinger Band cross. Half an R. This one rolled over, came through the Bollinger Band main. Short for 1R. So that's 1, that's 0.5, and that's 1. So about 2.5 in Rivian. All right, this is one where it was failing. This is DIA. It was failing here. This is where we cashed the swing trades, and it had fallen a risk box right in the opening bar. So I got short in the opening 3-minute bar, and then this thing collapsed. Second position, exit. So on 1 unit of risk, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 on this one, and 2 on that one. That's 6R in the Dow. Tried the Kata 2 continuation trade for a scratch. That became an SSC, which made it back to the VWAP, like a big VWAP magnet for 2 more R. Kata 2 reentry for another R. So this is 1, 2, and 6. And that's 9 in DIA. That's another reason we like DIA as an intraday trader, because it's orderly and very liquid. And you can see turning points in the S&P that happened before they hit the Dow, so you can use the S&P signals as early warning. This was the intraday on Alcoa. That was part of that big gap down and sell-off for about 4R. Scratch, scratch, scratch. So about 4. And then our last one was, oh yeah, we already did DIA, sorry. I think there was one last one here. Yeah, Caterpillar. So Caterpillar, we had that one at the close, and we had 3 swing positions on this one. And this was that big gap up, sell off and recovery, sell off and recovery. So I added a day trade to it, and then that started to fail for 1R, and then the bottom started falling out. So I got rid of the swing trades, got short 1 here, re-entry here for a scratch, and then an SSC for 1. So this was 1 on the recovery. This was 2 on the short, and this was -1. So this was net +2 for a lot of activity on Caterpillar. This was high adventure, no place for a nervous person. We'll take a quick look at the traders. This was from Jay, and I think this was in the S&P. He notices the PSAR flip after the sell-off gets long here. There's a COTA 2 second entry possible in both of those places. He gets the peak here and then exits at the PSAR flip, perfectly executed with an entry here and or here, and the standard exit there. Good work. This is red with Alcoa. Gap down to here. Short here. Cash is a winner. Re-enters short. Cash is a winner. Scratches here. So total was +3 and some change. So nicely executed. Oh, rats. Didn't mean to do that. Sorry. Gets 3/4 of an R on Rivian. There's the big gap. Gets short for a fraction, scratch, long for a fraction, and that's 3/4 of an R. Good work. Hamad grinds out 0.3 in the Euro British pound. Let's see what we got here. Gets the Z3 pinch breakout. Gets paid. Plays for the PSAR flip, cuts it, tries another one long, cuts it, then gets short here. A little bit late on the exit, and then switches and gets a line, gets paid, gets paid, gets paid. Um, so we could have done a little better on that one, but still pretty good getting aligned. Not much happening there in this is in Boeing, unlike last week. Here's Caterpillar. This is again, this was that big gap up. This was the indicated. If that's the OR3, and this is where the short could happen, or here, either one of those is acceptable. I think we're late getting into this one, and then cut it right away. And then here's that's the definition of a harsh winter leading into spring, and that's where the PSAR flips. So there wasn't much in there, but actually it gets all the way back to the VWAP as a VWAP magnet. So if that's my entry and that's my gain against a risk box like this, still there was a couple R left on the table there. Uh, 0 for 4 on McDonald's here. The move was this one. Here's the big gap down, so you know it's in play. It runs up and then starts to fail. That's where I gotta think we gotta start looking at that. And even if you wait for it to have the RL10 fail at the VWAP, somewhere in here, I think is a short. And here is certainly a short as well. Because you got everything pointed down. But that's the one I want you to look at. Oh, that was twice. Sorry. 2.2 in NVIDIA does a nice job getting aligned with the angels in here. That's good work. 6R and Tesla. How about that? There's the R10 wiggle and short at the collapsing dragon. 2R battle drill, crush, kill, destroy. There's your SSC. So this could have been 10R if you get this one and the second entry. But still, we'll take 6 and some change. Tesla, this is, I think, was this Osnieska? Yeah, I recognized her style of charting. And she brings home 3 on the 5-minute chart, same traits. Ilker, 3 on Cat on the short side. Well done. 4.8 on DIA on the grind down and then the recovery. And that's not even getting this, the big morning hook down in here. So that's pretty good shooting, Tex. Mexico, -1.5. 2.5 from Satya on Caterpillar, getting the big moves in both directions. That's getting aligned and not having a directional bias. 1.5 on the gap down and drop out of Alcoa. That's so well done. This is Jonathan. Let's see what we got here. Collapsing Dragon on this is Alcoa. I like the exit. I like that short. That's fine. And I like the reversal. I think this exit here should be up in here. Um, when you get a little more comfortable with this, that OR3 that's that opening 3-minute bar. That's the big gap down, so you know it's in play, and then you can get that shot, and that becomes a second position because you're getting the first leg. Yeah, and to answer the question in here, yeah, this could have been the pocket entry right here, especially after that big long sell, and then it fails well before getting back to the VWAP. That's maybe where we can be short instead of here, and then this doesn't lose 0.34. Yeah, I think that's a good shot. You're if it gets above the VWAP, then there's some buying interest. But I think this could have been exited a couple bars earlier. When this failed, it had 7 bars to break through the VWAP, and it never did. So now it feels I almost want to be short there, right? This is Brazil. Tries the long, a little late on the exit, I think. That should have been up in here. That should be the short. Okay, there's some slippage. Um, hey, it's so far past the entry, the whole market is melting down, and then you got to take the high of the day and then drop a range stat, and you'll discover that you can take that one. And this is where put a buy stop order in, um, and then let's see, took the order off for span of control. Well, that'll be one that you remember for a while. But I don't disagree with the decision. It was properly motivated. Um, Great collapsing dragon here. Here's the gap down. There's your R10 wiggle. So a CD and cover. Re-entry might have been here, but that's still not bad. Quick cut, and now the reverse. That's reasonable. Good patience. This could have been a re-entry. That's certainly a re-entry because now you're through the VWAP, and now you've got a long side bias for a while. George, let's see. Nice, nice move in here on Nvidia, gotten paid. I like it. Risk control here on Disney. That would have been tempting on the short side because everything in the market was selling. So there wasn't much room in there, but that would have been tempting. Um, Late in the day, gets the PSAR flip, gets a taste. There wasn't much time left in the day for that. I might take a look at this, study what the market was doing around that time, and there may have been enough reversals to get into this thing on a 1, 2, 3 when it crosses the VWAP. Now you get that trade at this level instead of that level. Yeah, and we saw Rivian already. Let me, I have to restart that just a minute. All right, on the 30-minute chart here, the 30-minute market indicator. So that was our 2 days of strong trading last week. And today there was a gap down, sold off, recovered, you know, and then came back a half. So good stable move. It finished right on the Bollinger Band main. So that is actually a compound critical state ready to go either direction because there was a pullback, a recovery, another pullback, and now it's right on the 50-yard line ready to go either direction. So tomorrow's going to be turnaround Tuesday and big moves. Tomorrow is going to be a trader's delight. Be ready with your indexes on that. Be ready for big moves. Bullish normal, mostly overbought. Here's a 2 day pullback for a little bit of weakness. Volatility is allowing for sharp moves in either direction. In the Dow Tactical, you had Caterpillar with big breakouts again, as was Nvidia. That was where the strength was today, and some weakness entering here in Cisco, Johnson and Johnson, McDonald's, and 3M and Pfizer. So there's some weakness showing up in last week's winners. So maybe some rotation happening and topping action. That's what I'm worried about here. We got in the ETFs collapse in lithium and real estate. Clean energy took it right on the nose, minus 33. That bottom's ready to fall out of that. Also in materials, that was a big loser, and metals. That's Alcoa and Cliff and Nucor Steel. A couple legit mechanical swings available. Lots of auto framers available. So we got Intel at 8.5 to 1, along with 3M 8.5 to 1. That's hard to argue with. McDonald's, Nike 2 to 1. Real estate 3 to 1. Tesla's strength in the afternoon may be interesting. 3.7. Had just a couple squeezes today. Disney and Intel. Yeah, Caterpillar was like the lone survivor today. Still in play. The Qs in healthcare, still pretty interesting. And oil had a little bit of a bounce, so might be looking for Devon Energy on a rebound play tomorrow. And that was, and there's a lot of room for upside because it's just been murdered. But the fact that oil made a short term bump, this may be a value play in Devon. So let's keep an eye on that one. And I want to just look here. Yeah, I still think this is vulnerable. We're at Z2, and I'm worried about that. And if this fails, not surprising. And the 10 period has made some lower highs, so the the channel for the RL10 Z score is down. So this is a perfect place to see um, some sell-offs. Worried about that. All right, that's everything we got for today. We'll get this posted and shortly, and we'll be ready for them on Turnaround Tuesday. Take good care.